Well, it's May, which means that it's time for spring to be in full force, for pollen to be aggravating your allergies, and also for it to be National Masturbation Month. In 2014, Dr. Jocelyn Elders was fired as the United States Attorney General for suggesting that masturbation is a healthy practice, that it's something that maybe we should teach children during sexual education. And perhaps then, at the height of the AIDS epidemic, that perhaps masturbation was a safe sexual practice that we should engage in. As you can imagine, the media had a field day with that assertion, especially back then, especially with the influence of the conservative Christian movement, and she was fired. In response to this, Masturbation Month came into existence the following year. Now, I'm a big believer in self-connection, getting in tune with your body, getting into your body, and enjoying everything that your body has to offer. So let's take a few moments and discuss what National Masturbation Month might mean to you and how it might help you on your own personal journey of becoming. So hey there, if we haven't met each other before, my name is Kalen. I'm an ecstatic spirituality coach. I host this YouTube channel, Ecstatic Self, where we explore the intersection of meditation, sex, spirituality, sexuality, authenticity, and finding a sense of belonging within ourselves. I've written a couple books on these topics, and I work all the time one-on-one with people on that journey of coming home to themselves. So let's just talk a little bit about why is there still a stigma around masturbation? Because let's face it, pretty much everybody does it. Men do it, women do it, non-binary people do it. We've all been doing it probably from a pretty young age, and regardless of your relationship status, for most of us, it's a very enjoyable activity. In fact, I'd say it's probably for me, and this is something I've come to own and something that I've learned to let go of shame around, but for me, masturbation is actually probably one of my primary sexual activities, whether it's by myself or with another person. I can honestly say that there's been more than a handful of sexual situations where I've left thinking, gosh, I think I would have just enjoyed that more if I had just had my own hands rather than this other person's body to interact with. But many of us are taught shame at an early age around masturbation, especially if you grew up in a Judeo-Christian household. This idea that certain parts of your body are sinful or wrong or dirty, that sexual expression is only supposed to take place in the context of marriage, procreation of children, and usually only between men and women. And even those of us who are more sex positive tend to be a little bit more reserved on their views of masturbation. There's an interview I did here on YouTube with somebody who I really love and respect, where in the context of the interview I asked them, what kind of role does masturbation play in your life? And he looked at me like I was crazy. He said, why would I masturbate when I have a partner? And I was a little taken aback by this, but his sentiment is not exclusive to him. There's a lot of people who say masturbation is just preparation for sex. Masturbation is just something you do when you can't get pussy, or you can't get ass, or you can't get dick, or you can't get whatever you like. Earlobes, I don't know, whatever you're into. Masturbation is often kind of subjugated to a second-class citizen sort of status. It's that less favorite stepchild who gets invited to go sit in the corner, which now that I'm saying that is a really weird metaphor. Like if you have a stepchild and that stepchild's invited to go sit in a corner, I think there's something fundamentally flawed with your household and your family. We aren't taught to celebrate connection with our own bodies. We aren't taught to celebrate lovemaking with ourselves. And I don't know about you, but many people, myself included, have really struggled with getting into our bodies and feeling a robust connection with ourselves and feeling pleasure and joy in our humanness and our physical experience. You know, I can remember my 20s going for a massage and realizing, wow, when the massage therapist touches me, anything below around here, I have a really hard time feeling because I'm so not connected with my body. I'm so stuck in here, in my head, in my brain. There's a quote from a James Joyce book where he says, this character lived a short distance from his body. And I think that's something that many of us can relate to. I think a lot of us have been taught through the culture we live in to not be embodied, to not embrace our whole physical self, and to sometimes feel entirely separated from our physical self. Now, not that masturbation would cure all of that or solve all society's ills of feeling internally disconnected, but it's not a horrible way to start. Because how many of you can genuinely look in the mirror and get turned on? How many of you can look at yourself and say, my God, I have a beautiful body. I'm so grateful for this body. I so enjoy this body. Thank you, universe, for the gift of this body. Because really, that's where we should all be. If you don't love your physical form, if you don't love yourself, if you don't love this gift you've been given, then you're not going to be grateful for a lot of things in life. Because if we take this idea that we are spirits having a human experience, this body is your vehicle. This body is that by which you are able to experience the world. And if you are not appreciative of it, if you're not enjoying of it, if you're not relishing this gift, then you are looking your blessings like they are nothing but trash. You're looking at a gift horse in the mouth. You are not appreciating this life you've been given. You know, I think it's unfortunate that the story of Narcissus has gotten such a bad rap, because the story in and of itself that this person so fell in love with their own reflection isn't necessarily a bad story, right? Like when we talk about somebody who is a narcissist, nowadays we're talking about somebody who is completely oblivious to other people and oblivious to other people's suffering and feelings and cares and concerns. Being self-loving, in fact, often makes you a more compassionate person, makes you more open to the suffering of others and appreciating their difficulties and being able to be present for them. Because when your well is empty, when you have nothing inside that you can connect with or relate to or draw strength from, you just feel like an empty shell, how much of value do you have to offer someone else? You've heard me say this before, but one of my least favorite things on the planet are people who go on mission trips and try to like save other people when they don't have a lot of spiritual depth themselves, when they don't have a lot of ecstasy and joy and connection to the divine flowing within them, but somehow they're supposed to offer that which they do not have to another person. It's like somebody say, hey, I'm gonna give you 10 bucks, but really I'm broke, so here's a piece of paper with $10 written on it. Like, good luck cashing that at the bank. No, we need to love our bodies. We need to celebrate our bodies. I was really kind of miffed this week. I had one of my YouTube shorts kind of blow up, where I think it's now at like 15 million views right now as I record this. And in it, I'm in a towel and I'm just saying, hey, do something nice for somebody today. Send them a note, send them a thank you card, spread kindness. And I've been shocked with the number of comments of people being like, you should be ashamed. How dare you? You have lost all self-respect that you show up here practically naked. Or my favorite one, think about the children. In which case I'm like, you have no issues with shoving images of violence and hatred and name calling in front of your children, but somebody who shows up empowered, standing in their body, talking about kindness is disturbing to you? Like, look at your life, look at your choices. That is fucked up. Sorry, it is. It's really fucked up. But this idea that I should be ashamed of my body, that I should cover myself, that there's something wrong with enjoying the skin we're in and celebrating what we have. Like, your body is a gift from God. And even if you're looking at it from the Judeo-Christian perspective, you were made in God's image, which means God has a penis and or a vagina, probably both. Which means God enjoys sex because they are pleasure organs, which means God probably masturbates. Jesus had sex. Woohoo! Mind-boggling, I know. It's crazy. Jesus had a penis. He probably played with his penis at least a few times. So why is there all this stigma and shame around enjoying that which we are given? In fact, I think they should be celebrated. We look at certain spiritual traditions where they actually depict deities, forms of God, engaged in intercourse, having sex. There's pictures of deities in different traditions having erections. You look at Priapus in the Greek tradition, Min in the Egyptian tradition. Like, these bodies are sacred vessels and we honor them by bringing them pleasure. We honor them by celebrating that which we are given. And so I think of masturbation as a sacred and holy act. In fact, it's something I will sometimes do at the end of my meditation practice. After I've done my mantras and my chanting and my focusing and connecting with God, I'll offer the enjoyment of my body as an offering up to the divine. Masturbation is a sacred ritual I do to thank the universe for this life and for all the generosity. So what would that be like if you actually saw masturbation not as something shameful, but as a way of worship? Like, I mean, could you imagine the church service? We go show up, we do our prayers, our hallelujahs, and then please engage in our ritualistic masturbation. Like, how empowering would that be? Okay, no, I mean, maybe. I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, so I like group masturbation settings. Those are fun for me. But what if we did see it as holy? What if we did see our bodies as sacred? And no, I'm not gonna stop showing up in public naked or online. And you know, I love posting pro-sexual content online because it says, hey, I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed of what I've been given. And in fact, I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to be authentic to my experience. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't have a penis. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't masturbate. I'm not gonna be one person in the boardroom and one person in the bedroom. I wanna be the same person everywhere I go. I wanna be the real, fully embodied person of me. Because what happens when we start segmenting off parts of our identity, our sexuality, or gender or our ability to get angry, then we stop being full people. We start being half people. We start being facades, fake, phonies, masks. But somebody who can show up fully embodied, fully authentic and empowered in themselves, of themselves, through themselves, those are magical individuals. And those are the people I want to surround myself with. I want to be with people who are integrated, who accept all their bits, who accept their shameful bits, their sexy bits, their beautiful bits, their ugly bits, and say, this is me, this is human, this is authentic. And so this is my invitation for you. It's May, it's Masturbation Month. Masturbation Day is, I think, the 28th, so you've got a few weeks to get ready for it. But to celebrate you, to celebrate this body, enjoy what brings you pleasure, enjoy what brings you a sense of internal connection and connection to your higher self, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. To see all of you as sacred, holy, and beautiful, because you are perfectly made in all your imperfections. There is not a part of you that is more or less holy or more or less sinful than another part. Every part of you is sacred. You are God made flesh, every one of us. And it's time we start embracing everything that makes us us, rather than saying some parts are unacceptable. So masturbate with yourself, masturbate with a friend, masturbate with a lover, masturbate in a space out in nature if you'd like. Do what makes you feel good. And when you do, you will know your full power. You will know your full self. And if this video offended you, I'm glad, because maybe it's time to look at that which offends you might actually be that which you need to work on, because that which arises tension within us are our unresolved bits. They're the parts that are not yet healed. And anytime you see somebody respond out of fear or anger unjustifiably, it's usually because they have a connection to that of which they are afraid. So enjoy that. I'm Kaylin. This is Ecstatic Self.